Before you start laying out your frame, make sure you have all the tools you need. You have all 4 of your boards cut to the correct length. You've got your set of plans, a tape measure, a combination square, and a nice sharp pencil. I'm going to lay out the boards one by one. First, the short board, the 8-inch board. One side is going to have dowels and the other side is going to have pocket holes. So let's label those. I'll label pocket hole here, pocket hole here. On this side, I'm going to label dowel and dowel. Then I'm going to put my name on it somewhere where it's very easy to see. This board has a lap joint, a dowel hole for the stand, and a miter. I'll start with the miter. Use your combination square and lay it out exactly like it does in the plan. Set the edge of your square against the side of the board and draw that miter out in the corner. Next, I'm going to lay out for the lap joint. The distance from the edge is 2.5, so I'm going to set my combination square to 2.5 inches, place it against the side of the board, and mark that in. Then I can set it against the other edge and continue that line all the way down. On top, this lap joint is 3/8 of an inch thick. I want to make sure I mark which side that I'm going to cut away. So I'll use my square to continue this mark across. Then I'll set it to 3/8, which is the thickness of the joint. And I'll just use it with my pencil to mark along this edge. Now I'm going to put X's in the part that I want to get rid of. That way later on when I get to the bandsaw, I know which part I'm going to cut away. The final step is marking out this dowel location for the stand. For this I use the tape measure. The distance from the right edge is 6.5 inches, so I'll measure out 6.5 and place a mark. And then it's 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. I'll mark that like that. Now I'm just going to label this dowel. Next, put my name on it. And this component's done. The next side also has a miter. Again, make sure that these miters are pointing in the correct direction. Make them exactly like they are on the plan. So I'll mark my miter in this corner. This one has 2 dowel holes, so I'll mark that on the edge. And it also has a hole for the stand. So this one is 7.5 inches over and 3/4 of an inch up. I'll label it. And make sure I have my name on it as well. On the final board, this one only has the lap joint on the side. So I'll mark that as well. I'll set my square to 2.5 inches again. And mark it from the edge. Use the square to run that line all the way through the side. Mark the top. Set to 3/8 just like last time. And run that line across. Again, I'm going to place marks on the portion that I want to cut away. And label it with my name. After all 4 of your pieces are labeled, the next step is going to be starting to cut the joints. I have my joint frame, each piece cut, and kind of dry fit here, you'll notice that the joints are labeled. There's a pocket here and a pocket here. Here's a dowel here and a dowel here. Here is my lap joint. There's nothing else I have to do with that until the assembly stage. Now I want to make some marks, or I need to make some marks for my dowels so the dowel jig will work. I'm going to take my square and set it to 3/4. I'm just going to mark it at 3/4 here. I'll mark across both boards so it passes through them each. And I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to set it on and mark it at 3/4. This is where the dowel is going to pass through both boards. I'm also going to put 2 dowels in this miter joint to help hold that together. For this one, I'll measure in from the outside edge. I'm going to mark 1.5 and I'm going to mark 3. From here, I can take my square, my combination square, I'm going to mark across those marks again, like here. Make sure it stays lined up. I'm also going to mark across here. This is where my dowels are going to land in that joint. Now for the pocket holes, I need to flip it over because the pocket hole machine cuts from the bottom. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to label this top, do not cut. I want to make sure I remember not to cut the pockets on the wrong side. So I'll take my 3/4 inch measurement again, just place a mark on top on each side like this. That'll help me when I get to the pocket hole machine. So if we look at our 4 corners, here we have a pocket hole joint. This is a butt joint using dowels. Here's a lap joint, and in this corner is a miter joint also using dowels. Rather than placing dowels in this joint here, we're going to countersink screws. We can leave those 3/4 inch marks, and now use your square to run these marks all the way to the edge, and we'll countersink screws.